If you are watching this video, then you are here to learn how to draw a grid for a 4-inch by 6-inch photograph on white paper that is 11 inches by 14 inches. For this part of the project, you are going to need a ruler and a pencil. We are going to use the 1-inch increments to create our grid. To begin, the first thing that we need to create is a border or edge around our artwork. The reason why I would like you to add a border or edge on your artwork is because this protects it from any damage if the edges of your artwork are being held or put in a portfolio or along those lines. So we always want to add a border. So the first thing that we are going to do is put our 0 up against the edge of our paper. Now, one thing I do want to make you aware of is that there are different types of rulers. So you might have a ruler that the 0 is actually about 1/4 of an inch in from the edge of the paper. Or you could have a ruler where the 0 is right on the edge of the ruler. So whatever type of ruler you have, the rule of thumb is to always make sure that the 0 is right on the edge. So the first measurement we're going to make is a dot at the number 1. And then we're going to slide this ruler all the way down to the bottom of the page and put another dot at the number 1. Once you have completed those 2 dots, you are going to take your ruler, turn it, put the 0 right at the top of the page. Line it up with this dash and put a dot at the number 1. We also want to make sure that our ruler is lined up with the bottom dash that we measured down here. So make sure you've lined it up with the top dash and the bottom dash. The reason for this is so that we can have a straight line. Next, I need you to hold your pencil like a drawing tool, not a writing tool. The reason for this is because if we hold the pencil by the eraser, we are going to have light pressure due to less leverage. So we're going to put our pencil right at the number 1, and we're going to draw a very light line down the page. Next thing we are going to do is slide our ruler over. Make sure our 1 is at the top of the page. And we're going to put a dash right here at the number 1. Turn your ruler. Line up the 2 measurements that we just measured. And we're going to draw a straight line all the way across as light as we can. You should have a 1-inch border here and a 1-inch border here. Now we're going to start measuring. We are going to take our ruler, line it up on the edge of the paper, and we are going to put a dot all the way across to the number 9. We're going to pull our ruler all the way down to the bottom of the paper, line our 1 up with the edge of the paper, and we're going to repeat that same measurement, those same increments. And stop at the number 9. The first thing we are going to do is line up our 2 measurements, and hold our pencil by the eraser and draw the lightest line you have ever drawn in your life. If you have done these measurements correctly, you should have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And now we're going to do that all the way across. If you have an eraser handy, you do not need this part of your artwork. This is going to be a border. We don't need that to have lines in it. So now you're just going to independently draw your lines as light as you can. Hold your pencil by the eraser, draw your lines as light as you can. And that is how you draw the vertical increments on a 4-inch by 6-inch photograph sized up on the white piece of paper, 11-inch by 14. The next step is we are going to do the measurements down the long side. For the second part of this grid drawing, what we are going to do is turn our paper, and along this top line we are going to measure 1-inch increments. So we are going to line our ruler up on the edge of this line, making sure the 0 is right against it, and then holding our pencil in a drawing position, we are going to put light tiny dots all the way across 1-inch increments. You can stop at the number 12 because in our photograph we only go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way to the number 12. So we only need 12 boxes. Again, in order to draw straight lines, we are going to need to pull our ruler down to the bottom, line up the 0, and put a dot, a really light dot at each 1-inch increment. So at each number, you're going to put a dot. Very, very lightly. We do not want to indent the paper, and we do not want our marks to show up later in our drawing. Then to finish off our grid, we are simply going to line up the 2 marks, making sure our ruler is straight, and then you're just going to very lightly draw in a line. I strongly recommend that you hold your pencil by the eraser and line up your 2 dots and draw a straight line. They need to be very, very, very light. That is our grid complete. Using a white eraser, we are going to erase this bottom row of boxes because we do not need the 13th row. When lettering and numbering the boxes, you need to make sure that you follow and match the grid. So however your grid looks, you need to make sure that you number them that way. So my number 1 starts at the bottom. So I need to make sure that I put my number 1 down here and work my way up to the top. Make sure you have 12 boxes or rows. We do not need the 13th row at the bottom. And then we are going to finish up our grid drawing by lettering the bottom row. Double check that each of your boxes line up A1, A2, B1, B2, and you should be good to go and ready to start drawing.